All right, so greetings everyone and welcome to the interview with Suvi Latva from Neogames. We will today having a discussion related to the job market challenges that we have in the game industry and basically having, let's say, casual discussion on the given topic that how or well, let's put it this way, that do we even have a problem in the job market currently for the graduates, and if we do, how we're about to kind of maybe solve that. So with that in mind, maybe Subi, you could give a short introduction, who you are and what you do, and from that, let's go to the given topic.
Okay, so I'm Suvi Latva. I'm Chief Business Advisor in Neogames Finland. I've been maybe 20 years or something in the game industry, mostly on the kind of supportive side, like how to support companies and ecosystems. So that's my kind of basics. Although I've been doing some real-time 3D graphics really like a long time ago. But anyway, I think my expertise is more like
That's a
this
cool
type.
story, by the way. You should definitely ask
Yeah,
about that when you meet Sophie in some conference or something.
yeah.
That's a cool story. But yeah, so thank you very much. So kind of why we decided to have this given interview was mostly because I've been working in schools and doing education in game development and related stuff, and I've been kind of seeing that there is currently a big challenge for graduates to get a job in the game industry. And right now I'm having a discussion with the schools, but also with kind of the industry veterans and people who either are working as an entrepreneur in the game industry or as an employee. And it seems like that seems to be the case, that currently it's pretty hard to get that job as a graduate or even as a junior. But is it like harder from your perspective that it's a harder to get a job from the game industry nowadays?
Yeah, certainly. We all know that there are lots of financial challenges in general, not only in game industry. There has been a lot of layoffs in big game companies, like globally. So certainly there is a lot of challenge at the moment. I think in Finland, one reason why it is challenging for juniors and young graduates to get a job is that we have a lot of quite small companies, so it's easier to bring juniors to bigger studios versus if you have like 20 people there might not be so good practices to kind of support juniors, or there's not enough like people to give advices and guidance. So but we know that there is a inflation which make it more difficult for players to buy and put money in games. Also, maybe we cannot expect consuming to increase forever. So so there might be that kind of challenges. Also, that how can we expect that kind of well, that's also ideological thingy, but also regulation. There is a lot of challenges at the game industry, so it's not easy times. The
Yeah,
competition is heavy.
yeah, absolutely, and kind of most definitely, there are multiple reasons for that why
Mm,
the kind of situation is challenging. But
mm,
obviously, that doesn't change the fact that there are currently kind of people graduating from different
mm,
game schools, like more than ever, basically, if I
mm,
can say that. I
mm,
actually don't have the numbers for that, but I would highly guess that currently there's people coming out from schools more than ever, and at the same time the job market itself is in the worst situation, basically,
mm.
after a while. So but do you see kind of this situation getting better at some point, or is this the new normal? Like, can we kind of see that maybe it's getting better, and it's better for the graduates in the future to get a job or such, or do you see that this is kind of this is how we need to kind of operate in the future as well?
Is the world getting better? Will you
Yeah,
promise? Can you promise there
I think you can
won't
do
be any
that.
wars or pandemics anymore? So I think it's quite tightly related to that. But I'm one of the cynical persons. Maybe that's something that comes with the experience also. So kind of try to filter a little bit how what I'm saying and my perspective. But I also think that ways of gaming are in change, and there are a lot of new kind of trends of how to play, and a lot of new technologies, like of course we know about the AI and everything. So maybe that's kind of fresh approach to the gaming, and how to how young students or new people, young people they might have like a better approach, more fresh. We are getting older, we kind of professionals who have been maybe 15 years, 20 years at the industry. It's also a kind of burden. So it's also what we need. We need a fresh approach, like genuine understanding what is gaming or playing at this century. So I think that's kind of a great opportunity for youngsters. Also, like I think that basically everyone is starting from the same point from regarding AI at the moment. So there's a lot of new technologies which I definitely would recommend all the all the people trying to find out how to utilize AI in your work. And so that's
So what
something
you're saying is basically that for the question that is the situation getting any better, is that to get better with the situation, you should definitely focus in the areas that are more or less kind of changing the industry or molding the industry, as an example, the AI or such. So kind of for people to get into the industry and get a position there or get things better, they should kind of handle these new
I
tools
think
and
that
such, right?
that's like I don't have like exact answers, and I don't know, but I would say that that's easier way to compete. Of course, if you are like a really experienced in the traditional game development, I mean 3D modeling or something, so maybe you can kind of be competitive job applicant in that sense. But I would say that it's much more hard competition in that area. And of course, you can't use AI without having the basic understanding of the game development. So of course you need to have the basic skills. But and
So
it's
how do you
kind of
get it? How do you see kind of how is it possible for anyone to get those basic skills in kind of the current environment if you're not even able to land the first job and get those basic
well, everyone
understanding?
can study some like 3D modeling and animation and basics of the engines like Unity and so on. So that's our quite things. So you don't need to have a workplace to learn
Right.
those things. So I think that there's a lot of opportunities to kind of learn the basic skills of the game development, and that's something that it's obviously, if you want to get a job in game development, you need to have some experience of game development, and you can do it at school or in your hobbies. So that's obviously something, but
I
yeah.
kind of laid a trap for you here. So with that in mind, we kind of maybe can shift into discussion about the entrepreneurship in the game industry and actually kind of making games of your own and actually making those commercial games of your own. And I kind of know your thought about this, like how you think, but I just want to kind of go ahead and dig this a little
Yeah.
further. That is that an option for people to actually maybe establish a company or start making games commercially and learn while doing, and maybe use those kind of skill sets that you get when doing those commercial games on yourself as a tool to get a job in the game industry, or maybe even get your company enrolled?
The obvious answer, which that I would say think twice. So it's not definitely the easiest choice, and it's one of the most challenging. But if you end up, if you really need to found a game studio, so I would recommend to have at least one of the founders that have some experience from the industry. So maybe been working in the game company or have a previous entrepreneurship. So at least that one, and definitely don't take any loans based on your own belongings, that you don't lose your house or anything, that you're not getting bad consequences if it's not working. And it's really hard, especially like with the light experience. Also, like to consider something that maybe you can do some outsourcing at the beginning to support your own game development, own products, just to make some turnover, because it's really hard to commit your co-founders without paying any salary. So money is always good for the commitment also, and might not be enough just to have like a common idea of game development. But also, like, you need to know your excels. You need to have somebody who is actually willing and able to make some calculation about outcomes and incomes. So you need to do that also. Also, I had Also, you need to okay. I mentioned that you need to do actual game development in practice to be able to even to get the job. But especially when you are planning to have your own company, you should think about like justification of your decisions, like regarding genres and engines, tools and everything. All the decisions you make need to have a like justification, not only based on your own preferences or favorites. So you need to do some market research, think about the commercial products. You need to understand and actually take it as your kind of guidance, that you are doing commercial products for customers, players, not only like fulfill your own ideas. And I think that's one of the challenges in general, like when the young people are
Yeah, for me, it's
trying.
like kind of sounds like now when listening to you and kind of trying to step into those boots of that graduate and such. Like, there's
Mm,
so much to kind of understand, so much that you need to learn to be able to actually kind of start doing games of your own or stuff like that. And but kind of maybe kind of in a way that if you want to make those games, obviously
mm,
you need to make so much of those failures and kind of games that
mm.
don't have a market, and you design those badly, you scope those badly, whatever is the reason that you just make a crappy game. But maybe that's just something that you need to kind of go through to be able to kind of get the hang of it and such, and kind
Yeah,
of encouraging people to actually try that and do those crappy games. Maybe it's just kind of
yeah.
inevitable that you
And there are a lot of platforms where you can actually like really easy test your games, like a lot of game platforms where you don't even need to know Unity or something. You can test your ideas, and you can like get a feedback, like does it resonate to anyone or not. So that's kind of easiest way. And I know it's like it's there is a lot to like all the skills what you need to put. Maybe that you need to have a brief understanding about the commercial thing, that you are not there just like fulfilling your own like passion. But of course you don't need you shouldn't lose your passion, so you need to kind of find the balance. But also, like, one of the most important thing is in my mind to like integrate to the game developers community, because they're all nerds. They are like they're hesitant to talk strangers, but when you kind of learn to know someone, it's much more easier. And like, I mean, it might be for you, it might be difficult to get to learn new people, but when you learn to know one, and actually they are willing to help. And because we don't have a competition between companies in Finland, there is no domestic market in Finland. So, and I think that there's quite a strong this kind of attitude that when we play together, when we support each others, we are stronger as a Finnish game industry. So they are really helpful. And so to be able to kind of understand what would be the things you need to learn is to discuss with the existing professionals, and like have a discussion with them. Maybe you have a vague understanding, like, I want to be an animator, I want to be um, making narrations or sounds or whatever. When you discuss with those people, that you kind of get a more perspective, and maybe you understand, because if you just try to follow the curriculum, it's not enough. But if you just like go by yourself, there is just too much. So I think that
Yeah, that's very true, to kind of help the people to set maybe some kind of I don't know, a sandbox for you in which you
mm,
can do the play, and
yeah,
the sandbox is kind of for the environment of the industry, like
mm,
so maybe it's good to kind of find people around you that at least try to keep the one foot on the ground from you
mm,
and kind of
exactly.
make you lead in the right directions and such.
Mm,
But kind of now, if kind of thinking these solutions that we just had within these discussions, we kind of first started the discussion with that there are kind of plenty of different kind of tools like AI
mm,
and kind of a trending new kind of ways of creating games and such. And we kind of concluded that maybe learning those tools as a
mm,
graduate may be kind of a good practice in general, because most likely those are not going away, especially the
mm,
AI
mm,
or
mm,
tools like
mm,
that. And I'm not sure can you even call that a tool like AI, but anyhow, kind of
mm.
still kind of
Like
to
yours.
handle that and understand that and being the kind of a top notch in that sense may already bring fruit in the future if you just dedicate into that. And the second
and
one,
and
sorry.
also don't get stuck to the just like image creation because that's like a swamp where you can like go like forever.
Yes,
So
yes,
just like try
that's
it, but just like get rid of that also.
absolutely. That's why I was thinking that is the tool right word for AI, because that's not a tool. It's just like
Yeah,
a total new universe of making
yeah.
things. But anyhow, so but that's like one thing. But the second thing was that we kind of you say that if you're considering entrepreneurship like as a
Mm,
solution that you can make games and learn making games, you say that think twice that just don't jump into it, take loans and such. And most definitely there are kind of ways to do commercial games even though that you don't have to jump like all
mm,
put your own finances in there and kind of
mm,
take the leap of faith. You can
mm,
still make games and publish those like commercially and try out your wings and do those so-called crappy games and
mm.
actually learn the environments and such. Those are basically two already kind of things that may help people. But do you, if I would ask you like maybe 3 to 5 tips from you, like if excluding the AI or the kind of hobbyist entrepreneurship in the game industry, maybe 3 things, if you can kind of give any tips or such
Maybe
for
5.
graduates.
Maybe 5, 5 plus. But well, I already mentioned like getting integrated. That's to the game developers community. That's like necessary and I, like early. Like it would be the best case if you go try to get integrated already before you get to your studies, because then it could help you to kind of think like what would you study. And like game jams are a great opportunity of that, and also like IGDA is organizing a lot of meetups, and so there is a lot of
Let's put
opportunities.
that in concrete, because I think many graduates kind of think about that, like integrating into the communities and such. Like, well, sounds easy. You just go and integrate, plug in, and that's it. But how do you actually do that? Like talking about IGDA gatherings as an example, or going to game jams or such. Like, well, I think game jams are rather obvious because you just find a team, then you go there and you work and stuff happen. But when talking about live events like IGDA gatherings or something,
Yeah,
can you maybe lower the barrier for someone who is
yeah,
maybe going
yeah.
there for the first time? Like, what can you expect to happen or
Um,
something?
well, creating connections is like I don't know. You Klaus know that I'm not the most like extrovert person, so there are a few tips. I know that there are a few of those people like me also. So it's easy to like just like trying to be a nice person is the first step of social interaction and integration. So like asking like where are you working, and like what are you doing there, and how did you end up there, and like what you are excited about your job, how do you see your job like changing. It's this like people like to talk about themselves, so that's kind of first steps of social
What are you
interaction. So
talking about?
yeah, so that's kind of and it's make it more it makes it more easy for people who are maybe not maybe are shy, or it's just like feels feels that it feels difficult. And maybe then you are thinking like I've been considering this and that in your studies, and I'm just like kind of I'm asking for advice for like what should I learn next, or should I go deeper on that direction like this, or can I ask advice, or maybe if you have a demo of your game, maybe you can show it, and that's kind of easiest way for game developers to kind of socialize the unsocialize so the game in your mobile or something. What do you think about this? And don't be defensive when you get some feedback or comments. Of course, there people should be always constructive, but that's those are the kind of tips to start integrating or interacting with
Yeah,
people.
thank you. Because yeah, kind of putting that in kind of a nutshell, that it's not that different that you just show up and you start by being polite, like asking question, being interested of people, and most
Mm.
likely they like to talk about themselves, like you mentioned. So maybe
Mm.
that's just it. It doesn't need to be harder than that.
And it's also like beneficial for you to kind of understand their path. It's not only like social trick, but it's actually like useful for yourself too.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, sorry, interrupting you. So first
No
tip
worries.
was to actually
Yeah,
yeah.
I forgot it already. So that's the integration, the first tip, and then of course the actual game development project. So you need to do some game development. I would say that like basic tools, you should have some understanding about basic tools, but also like utilizing the platforms where you don't really need to have such a tools is also fine. So like doing actual game development, and also learn to make decisions which you can justify like rationally, not only based on your own favorites or personal preferences. So I'm getting back to that. You are making commercial products to the people who want to buy your game for a reason. And skills of teamwork. That's kind of it sounds like a trivial. Of course, you need to be able to communicate, but it's actually when we are talking about creative industry, and that's why also the game jams are really good, because the groups are changing, people are different, so you need to kind of learn how to communicate, how you give a feedback for a person who is really passionate. I made this art, or I have this kind of vision as a programmer. How you give a feedback, like maybe we should consider this again, and maybe how do you take feedback? Also, it's not about you. It's about what you are doing. So being respectful and flexible, also being able to actually give a little bit flexibility about what was your own idea. So teamwork skills. That's my third tip, and tip, and also like there is often young people, maybe older people, but people wants to get develop those games which they really like. So if they want to do AAA games, they want to get employed in AAA studio, and that's not always the case, because that might not always be an realistic opportunity for you. And then there is this, like, I don't want to do hyper casual or casual games or match 3. That's definitely not what I like. So you kind of need to get rid of that kind of thinking. Of course, it can be your kind of goal and your where you're aiming to do AAA games at some point, but you need to start from somewhere. And in that case, because even in match 3 games, there is like almost all of the cases there is some kind of narration behind. So kind of try to learn your own approach, like how can I bring my passion, my creativity, my whatever, like into that kind of environment, because I'm pretty sure that you can, if you are not like instantly saying no, I cannot do that, but if you try to find a kind of your own approach to the games that are not necessarily in your favorite area. So that's something that being flexible and in that area also. That's
Well,
my
yeah, obviously,
part.
kind of putting that in a kind of very concrete sense is like, when, as an example, like an artist who create 3D or 2D graphics, maybe they have a preference in creating some specific style, as an example. But I think like many artists know that they need to be flexible as well. They can stick within one style and do that for the rest of their lives. So it's pretty much same with the kind of genres that you will be working with. So you need to be flexible in that sense to actually be able to jump into that and still give that 100%, if I may say, like for that given project, even though it's not that like your cup of tea.
But still, like I'm not saying that you should kill your dreams or something, because there is one day somebody is the kind of the creative lead creative designer of the AAA game, but it's a long path to get there.
Absolutely.
So kind of patience also, like you need to create your career, like that there are milestones that and it's good to kind of visualize or somehow like put them in the paper or somewhere, that you understand that it takes these and these steps to get there. And sorry.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Was that all the tips? I lost
count. One more.
One more.
Kind of the fifth one, which you didn't ask, but it's be always keen to learn new. That it's just like you need to be open. That everything is changing. Like something what is like permanent in the game development or game industry is that change. That everything is changing all the time. So you need to kind of understand it's changing, and that's accepted in like deep level.
As I've been in the game industry for some time, I kind of noticed that it's kind of things that I kind of learned when I stepped into the industry and kind of started to get the hang of it. And at some point I actually felt that I know the stuff until I realized that I actually don't know anything. And it's basically just endless learning. Like it just never stops. It's just shape shifts into something else that you need to learn again. So
but when you know that you don't know enough, then you are in the in the right level. If you have a feeling that you know everything, you
something wrong.
But also, like, this is not the official tip, but I because there is a lot to learn and a lot to handle. I would encourage you to take a kind of life balance also, like not to try yourself, like don't work too hard or don't study too hard, because you're at the early state of your career. You need to have it's a long run. It's not the fast run.
Absolutely. Okay, I think I have no clue how long we've been having this, but most likely that's already enough for someone to listen on one sitting. So
you
I
can
think
put it double speed.
Yeah. I think there's a button for that, at least in many places. But anyhow, so by the way, hearing your voice with double speed, that would be insane. Like, I'm not sure can you even handle it, but I'm sure I'm gonna try myself. But anyhow, so thank you very much, Suvi, for the discussion and the interview, and hopefully we got something out from it. At least I feel that we can make those a little more concrete, those things that we have maybe had in our heads and such, and you were able to put those into actual words, and maybe someone gets something out from this to get into the game industry, or at least find the right tools or the practices to keep on going forward. So with that in mind, yet again, thank you very much, Suvi, and I hope you all the best.
Thank you for having me. Yep.
Thank you.
Bye.